Welcome Jujutsu Kaisen fans. Today we'll delve into a topic that's been on everyone's mind lately. Can Yuji Itadori defeat Sukuna? With Sukuna becoming more powerful and Gojo's return, it seems as though the lead main character Itadori has faded into the background. But fear not, as today we'll be discussing Itadori's secret power that may just give him the strength to take on Sukuna. He might have consumed the 6 remaining cursed wombs, and with each of these wombs he may have gained a new curse technique. In this video we'll explore this theory in depth, discussing each of the abilities that Itadori may have gained. So grab some snacks, sit back, and let's dive into the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. And don't forget to let me know your thoughts on this theory in the comments below. Let's go! The biggest clue to this idea was Yuji's statement that he is willing to eat anything as long as it means he will be able to defeat Sukuna. This already suggests that by consuming whatever he plans to consume or has already consumed, he will get to a power level that should at least help him in the fight against Sukuna. But here it is also important to understand if Itadori is completely powerless now that Sukuna is gone, or if some of his power has remained with Itadori. First of all, Itadori was already exceptionally strong physically before he ate the first finger. That was a mystery until we found out that Kenjaku is kind of his father, so Itadori is not a normal person to begin with. Also, from what I understand, Yuji should still be able to use Sukuna's cursed energy, or at least what remained of that cursed energy. I'm not saying that Itadori is preventing Sukuna from gaining 100% of his power, as if Itadori became a finger himself. Maybe, who knows. But rather that the fact that Itadori was the host for Sukuna must have simply left something behind. This cursed energy left behind will then be limited to a certain amount, and it does not regenerate because Sukuna is the one who produces this cursed energy, not Yuji. So it's like a disposable battery that can't be recharged. But all this is simply not enough to defeat Sukuna, so the cursed wombs are a good way to become stronger. The fact that he's going to eat or has already eaten something specific becomes clear when you look at how he talked to Chozo right after he said that he's willing to eat anything. He thanked him for his brothers. It was not explained exactly what he was thanking for in terms of his brothers, but according to Chozo's answer, we can assume that Itadori most likely ate the 6 remaining cursed wombs. It makes no sense that Itadori was, for example, referring to Eso and Kechizu. So it doesn't matter how you try to interpret the meaning, he can only be referring to the 6 remaining cursed wombs that Kenjaku didn't use for his plan. The reason why he didn't steal these cursed wombs could refer to the fact that they might just not be strong enough compared to the 3 older siblings. The point is that based on Chozo's answer that as long as his brothers continue to live inside him, it is okay. It can only mean that Itadori ate the 6 remaining cursed wombs. Or he somehow found the corpses of the 2nd and 3rd and ate them instead, if that's even how it's supposed to work. I mean, it worked for Sukuna with one of Yuji's fingers, which he fed directly to Fushiguro. It could well be that Sukuna focused almost all of his existence into Yuji's finger, and by ripping it off, Itadori's finger turned into a combination of all the fingers Itadori ate from Sukuna, which is why it had a similar effect on Megumi's body. It was later then explained that Itadori's body is now like a cursed object that is soaked or steeped in Sukuna's cursed energy. Perhaps this even has something to do with the fact that his finger could be used to take over Fushiguro. And this could also indicate the theoretical possibility that the bodies of the deceased cursed wombs could have the same attributes and thus be eaten to gain their powers. Maybe a finger is enough. It makes sense, I guess, but I honestly see no chance that this could happen, only if he would also eat the remaining 6 cursed wombs. Otherwise there's simply no sense for the existence of the remaining wombs. They are simply easier to eat and, well, less disgusting. And besides, the 6 remaining wombs together might even be more effective than the 2nd and 3rd. It could be that each of the remaining cursed wombs individually is not as strong because they symbolize the states of decomposition of a corpse, most likely in relation to the blood manipulation in Jujutsu Kaisen. This is because each of the wombs was made with the DNA of Noritoshi Kamo, who was controlled by Kenjaku at the time. So if each additional womb represents a more advanced state of decomposition, then the blood's attribute continues to change. The more the blood changes, the further away it is from the actual power, and thus the weaker the womb could be. That is my basic idea behind this assumption. For example, Chozo, who represents a fresh corpse, basically has the same blood manipulation that we know from the Kamo family, because his blood is still fresh, and obviously he is also much stronger than his two siblings. If you look at his siblings, you can see that they represent the next level of decomposition. They still have something like blood manipulation, but since the essence of the blood has already changed, their curse technique is no longer classified as blood manipulation. In this example, both of them have the rot technique, since their blood and also their body is already a bit rotten. This became clear when Nobora complained about the strange smell. Their blood already has properties known for rotten things, and thus they had the ability to poison people and even activate the decay process of bodies. This fits the name of the curse technique. In addition, the third womb was already more limited in his abilities than the second, which again indicates that the same will be true for the fourth sibling and so on. Their strength and abilities become weaker and weaker and further away from blood manipulation, which is probably why Kenjaku didn't feel it necessary to steal all the cursed wombs. Instead, he chose only the first 3. There was absolutely no reason to leave them behind when they are all as powerful as the other 3. The only logical reason would be because each of them is not as strong on their own. However, if we combine all 6 remaining wombs together, we don't know how they compare to, say, Shozo's powers. And Shozo is someone who can certainly compete in the top league of Jujutsu Sorcerer. Maybe not in a one-on-one fight against someone like Sukuna, but as a support character, he's a 10 out of 10, no doubt. So if Itadori is to get anything remotely as powerful as Shozo's power, that's quite enough. Combined with the remaining cursed energy and his latent potential, he could probably awaken a power he may not have been aware of himself. This could then help him compete with the likes of Sukuna, for example. Long story short, let's take a closer look at the 6 remaining cursed wombs to understand the techniques Yuji could inherit. I believe he could certainly inherit various cursed techniques. The question is whether they are useful. As we have established, the cursed wombs have something to do with compensating the body. To be more specific, it relates to a Japanese genre of painting with Buddhist ideology. It describes the 9 stages of death, so to speak. Each cursed womb represents a stage. We already know number 1, 2, and 3. So number 4 represents the beginning of rottenness. Number 5 represents the beginning of decomposition. Number 6 represents the already decomposing body, which is now food for small animals. Number 7 represents the state in which the flesh of the body is almost completely decomposed and the skeleton is revealed. Number 8 represents the remaining bones, and number 9 represents a memorial. So kind of like a spiritual phase. As you can see, these levels do not really describe decomposition itself, but rather the appearance of the corpse during decomposition. For example, there is no mention of poison or blood, although that is one of the main abilities of the cursed wombs revealed so far. So we need to focus more on the scientific explanation of decomposition to better understand the possible abilities Itadori could gain. Here we have only 4 or 5 stages. Therefore, both the second and the third womb did not have different abilities because they are at the same stage. So it could be that, for example, the fourth one has a completely different technique than the second and third, so not rot technique. Also, this means that Itadori will not necessarily get a new curse technique for each cursed womb. This could even be the case for all 6 remaining wombs. So it is either 1 or 2 to 6 different curse techniques that Itadori could get. Let us have a closer look. The first stage is autolysis and starts immediately after death. As soon as blood circulation stops, the body has no way to get oxygen or remove waste products. Enzymes are released that dissolve the cells. Rigor mortis causes the muscles to stiffen. Due to fluid, the body begins to shine a bit and the top layer of the skin begins to peel off. To me, this sounds very much like something is starting to rot. And thus it is exactly the stage that fits perfectly with the second and third womb. Maybe even to the fourth, we don't know yet. If the fourth sibling is part of the stage, then Yuji will most likely get the rot curse technique as well. Maybe the fourth womb is part of the stage but with other abilities. The next stage is called bloat and, as the name suggests, consists of bloating the body. Enzymes from the first stage start to produce a lot of gases. The gases can double the size of the human body. The bacteria produce extremely unpleasant smell. Also, a heavy insect infestation occurs. During this phase, fluid can flow out of the body. In this stage, there's also a phenomenon called livor mortis, like rigor mortis, just different, where the blood collects in certain parts of the body after death due to gravity. The third stage is called decay. The only ability I can think of is that Itadori will be able to rot other people or something like that, which again fits the ability of the second and third womb. And the last stage is called skeletonization. Obviously it has something to do with skeleton and will fit Jujutsu Kaisen, so maybe Itadori can make skeletons out of his body and control them. That would be sick and actually a really strong ability. And of course, based on the Buddhist concept, there is the final and spiritual level, when the body is completely decomposed and only the memory of the person remains, so maybe it has something to do with memory manipulation, will fit perhaps even to Itadori, because he gave not only Chozo a memory which does not exist, but also Todo. Although these are two completely different cases, it is strange that this happened twice for such different reasons. Perhaps it is possible that by combining so much Kamo DNA, Itadori might even be able to use the traditional blood manipulation. Let me know in the comments what you think of this theory, and if you enjoyed this video then please leave a like, it really helps me a lot. And if you want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen videos then subscribe to this channel with the notification bell activated. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.